Hello, everyone. This is Pepin NHL Talk. I'm Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. So, today we are on the last grouping of players that we're going to have a look at. And so, this is the bottom four forwards and the bottom two defensemen of a starting lineup. So it's going to be from the 8th tier of the tiers that I've established down to the 12th, and of course not including the 8th. And then the 4th down to 6th for defensemen, not including the 4th. So, and so what we're going to see today is the number of years within a 6-year time frame that players of this grouping have average performance of the grouping, basically. So, so I got started on some stuff. I'll show you here in a moment. Okay, so so I got things started. I had an extra 5-10 minutes before the start of the stream, so got things organized and started at least. So the grouping here is from the 8th, and again, this is forwards here. Sorry, I should highlight that too. Down to the 12th. So it is a maximum of 11 goals, 15 assists, and 27 points, and greater than or equal to 5 goals, 7 assists, and 13 points. Now, as normal, because of limitations in the filtering from NHL.com, we can only do 3 of those. So what I do is the maximum, so it's going to be the maximum goals, so 11 goals, 15 assists, so less than or equal to, and then greater than or equal to the 5 goals. So you can see that here on the right, and I already executed on those filters, and we can get to work. And so again, the 6-year period is from 2013-14 to 2018-19. And it's because it's the largest stretch in most recent history that didn't have lost games because of COVID or lockout. So, so that's it. So we'll get to work. And then basically all it is I'm counting the frequency of years for a given player at the level of performance, so within that group that I've mentioned already. So that's about it. So as always, unprompted, other than the subject, I do everything on the spot. So this is going to take a bit of time. I think from previous times it's about an hour or so between both forwards and defense. So if you have anything you're working on, you can leave me on in the background and listen for when I get to the conclusions, or you can come back, whatever works best for you. So anyways, let's get to it here. So we got 1, 2, and 2 there. 3, this again. Okay. Oh, I should make this larger in case you're wanting to watch me go through. Okay. Oh shoot, I didn't filter for forwards only, so glad I noticed. Forwards only. There we go. Thankfully, I've watched enough hockey and followed hockey long enough to recognize names. So I saw Boschman and I was like, he's not a forward, so caught that right away at least. Belmar, that's consistent. Bo Bennett. He's not playing anymore, I don't think, and he was supposed to be a good, prospect when he started at least. Reed Boucher, haven't heard that name for a while. Bork as well. Brodziak, there's another consistent guy at this tier. Burmistrov. Burrows. Byron. Callahan. Calvert, like look at that, 5 years. So I mean, you don't necessarily need to be an all-star player. If you're consistent, that counts for a lot, in my opinion at least. Like Chason, he's another guy that's been pretty good. Cirelli. 1 for Cirelli. That's it. Cizikas. 3. Clarkson. Clifford, another guy. 4 years. Clutterbuck, 4 years. Like for me, some of these guys, they'd be locks on, like if I was a GM and I was able to at least, have a good shot at getting some of these guys, they're like guaranteed guys to have on your third, fourth line kind of thing. Marco Dano, what happened to him? 2. 1, 2, 3. 2. 2. 2. Man, lots of guys with only 2 years. There's already a boatload. Seeing guys like I don't recall ever hearing the name Brian Flynn, but based on his track record here, he's maybe the kind of guy you'd want to lock up. Foligno, another good one. And it's like those guys that if you haven't heard of them, in all likelihood you could get them. Sorry, one sec here. Gagne 1. Gagne 2. So what I was going to say is in all likelihood you could lock those guys up for super cheap. You could even have them as like your 13th, 14th forward or whatever. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you could get some guys super cheap, I'm sure, and they'd be happy to, go up and down in the lineup between AHL and NHL, I'm sure. I just don't see why not go for some of these guys. Again, it's easier said than done because, you got to negotiate contracts and stuff. They have to want to sign them, but still, it seems like at least lots of opportunities. Hendricks, 4 years, that's good. Three for Melker. Komarov. 1. That's it. Yeah, something I'm really looking forward to is when, sorry, one sec. Yeah, when I start to put together my perfect roster with everything that I'll have set as my strategy, is to find all those diamonds in the rough that just nobody talks about that can fill out those bottom lines and really contribute. Like Derek McKenzie, I mean, a guy that you don't hear the name often, but really consistent based on this year. Matt Martin. That's really mixed up. So there's 4 for Tori, 2 for Mitchell, and I said 4 for Tori. Like Tori Mitchell, I mean, the name it doesn't stand out, but yet he's extremely consistent. David Moss. Nope. Mott. Nash. Hill. Colton Seaver, another good one. Sharp. Andrew Shaw, 1. No, that's it. And Nate Thompson, another good one. Scotty Upshaw, but he's retired, I think. Two for Scott. So we got 3 for Wingles. That's it. All right, so first half, well, it's a bit more than half, but that's done. So we've done all the forwards for this group. We can move to defense. All right, so get rid of the filters, switch to defense. We want, so for this grouping it is maximum, so less than or equal to 4 goals. Assist is 14, less than or equal to 14 assists. And then again, we'll use goals since we only have 3 filters we can use. So that is greater than or equal to 2 goals. And let's just double check. So 4, 14, and 2. Good, get stats. Sort by name and season, descending, or ascending, I mean. Cool, and how much do we have? Not a crazy amount. Alright, so we've got 1. 2. So one thing, just I don't know this for sure yet, but my instincts tell me, again, I don't know for certain, and maybe I've got my bias behind this, but it feels like if you allocated the money to third line forwards, well, essentially, so 8th to the 12th spot, if you allocated money that you would spend on high-end defensemen to those players and then just get a lot of average defensemen, I have a feeling that you're going to get dramatically better output. So, of course, we'll see in the end, but it just feels like that so far. Oops. Unfortunately, we won't know that until I've finished pretty much the whole thing. So Sorry, one sec. Make sure I don't screw up. But yeah, it's part of the joys of doing the whole thing, because I mean, there's so many layers to developing this strategy. It's not you can't just add the points together and boom, you're done. There's a lot more to it. Or, well, goals, whatever you want to say. But yeah, just skimming through as I'm doing this, you see towards the bottom of the lineup, the defensemen in the middle two and last two roster spots are nearly as good as some of the forwards, and you can pay them way less, I think. Or I'm guessing, at least. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see in the end, but yeah, it's just from having looked at the things as I've gone through, it just feels like there's an opportunity there, but we'll see. Anglin is 3, 4, not bad. Erickson, another one. So good Branson, another really consistent one. But if I recall correctly, he's paid too much, in my opinion. Killington 1. That's it. Lovejoy, another guy consistent. geography. Holy jeez, that's mixed up. So 1, 2, 3. No, wait. There's a Murray in there. So 1, 2, 3 for Ryan. And 2 for Connor. Oduya, another guy that was consistent. 3. Orpik. Prosser, another good one. Two for Quincy. That's it. Brendan Smith, another good one. Mark Stahl's good. We've got 2 for Brad and 3 for Mark. Tanev, that's another good one, but I think he gets paid too much. Cool. So that was quicker than I was expecting. I don't know how long it was in the end. I won't bother checking. Cool. So I guess we'll start with defensemen. So again, we're looking at the bottom 2 defensemen of the starting lineup, so the 5th and 6th defensemen, based on the tiers that I've established here. So that's, again, 2 to 4 goals, 8 to 14 assists, and 10 to 18 points. And again, not perfect because the limitations of NHL.com, we can only do 3 filters. So it'll be close enough anyways. So the results are right over here, and I'll make it bigger. Okay, so the highlighted section here. So the So the most common number of years of performance within the tier is 62 out of the 104. There's 28 that were for 3 years, 13 for 4, and 1 for 5. So generally speaking, using the results here, in theory, you would only want to sign a defenseman for 2 to 3 years because their performance is only consistent for that time frame. And again, this is just an approximation. It's something that we're going to reference later on. May or may not be advisable. It's hard to say until we kind of look at the whole picture. So that just gives us a general idea of the number of years within this grouping within a 6-year time frame. So, and again, we would have liked to have done longer, but the problem is because the year before this time frame was lockout, and the years after were COVID years, so you can't get consistent data unless you do weighted average stuff, and it's makes it complicated and also inaccurate, because who's to say that performance is gonna continue for the rest of the year had there been a full year. So anyways, so this gives us a general idea on this front, and then so that's for defense. And we move over to forwards, and again the group is from 9 to 12, so between 5 and 11 goals, 7 and 15 assists, and 13 and 27 points. And so you can see from the results here, the same sort of thing as defensemen. So 2 to 3 years is kind of where the bulk of players lie in terms of frequency. So as an estimation, between 2 to 3 years is what you'd want to sign for players in the last grouping, so your bottom 4 forwards. So that kind of concludes for today. Again, all this stuff's going to make a lot more sense once we have the whole picture. It just gives us a starting point to kind of gauge and prepare to make a full strategy for GM. So that's it for today. So if you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. Otherwise, the channel homepage has the upcoming streams. Should be 2 p.m. Eastern daily, except for Sundays. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions, likewise. And this took way less than I thought. So previous times, I think this took like an hour or something, and it was only 30 some odd minutes. So good news that it was relatively quick. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Tomorrow we continue on this grouping of players. We're going to have a look at the timing of contracts, so the ages when the performance is within the tier. So, and then that's going to be consecutive years. So, yeah, once again, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.